battering the Emirates for days, we assess the financial impact of the storms. We analyze the latest tensions on the Korean Peninsula. Japan deploys its missile defense shield ahead of a planned launch by North Korea. Welcome to Inside the National, the only program that brings you right here into the offices of the national newspaper in Abu Dhabi every weekday evening. In tonight's edition is a lack of statistics hampering our efforts to Emiratize our business sector. And in sports, Jenson Button wins the first Formula One race of the season. But first, our top story. The weekend's bad weather came at a cost. Insurance companies are assessing the impact of the hail, wind, and rain on their balance sheets, and ongoing flooding took its toll on this morning's commute, impacting productivity, especially in the Northern Emirates. Transport reporter Matthew Chung joins us now. Matthew, we've got a catalog of rough weather damage from right round the Emirates.
Yes, that's right. In Al-Ain, for instance, there was a number of houses damaged due to rain, and also in Fujairah, and the UAE Red Crescent is giving some assistance to those families. That's good for them, putting some in hotels, giving 10,000 dirhams to others. And then in Sharjah, there was one life lost on Saturday. A 9-year-old girl who was out swimming was overcome by the strong currents.
And, of course, very sad to have loss of life and lots of property damage. We've also seen chaos on the roads.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's been the weather, as usual, causing many accidents. And this is an example. Last Thursday, in just a 3-hour period, in the evening when it was raining, there were 37 accidents in the spaces between the border with Dubai and Shahama. So I guess the damage is expected to be pretty large monetarily.
So the insurance companies, I guess it's early days yet, they aren't releasing any numbers yet, or they don't know yet the full extent of the damage?
That's right. I think they're still assessing the damage, and they say that usually it takes about a week to get a full picture. So the next couple of days we should have a clearer picture of what the actual cost of this was.
And of course that picture is being updated all the time because the forecast...
Yeah, bad weather is expected to continue at least until Tuesday.
Emiratization isn't working as well as it could be. That from a study commissioned by the Emirates Foundation. They say that a lack of data and reporting and enforcement are all standing in the way of efforts to bring more Emiratis into the workforce. Tom Spender joins me now. Tom, for those of us who don't know exactly what Emiratization is, how is it meant to work?
Well, basically, it's all about trying to get more Emiratis employed in the private sector, actually. So traditionally, Emiratis have staffed government departments and Emirate departments and so on. But now there's a real move to try to get them employed in private companies, and to be able to kind of contribute in other ways to the country's development.
Okay, sounds like a good idea. The study says it's not working very well. This was a survey of senior managers?
There was 120 sort of CEOs and business executives were asked about their views on Emiratization, how it affects them, how successful they have been in employing Emiratis in their companies, and generally how they feel about it all. And some of the researchers found ultimately that it's progressing, but it's not progressing as quickly as anyone wants. Actually, there are employers who want to hire Emiratis, but they have difficulty actually recruiting them because they don't know where to find them, or they don't know. They find it difficult to locate the employees that they want, and the reasons for this are unclear. But there's definitely a kind of miscommunication between the Emiratis themselves, who are looking for jobs in one sense, but have certain expectations that are not easily catered to by...
You've also mentioned bad data and a lack of enforcement. Tell me, what kind of role does bad data play? What do you mean by that?
There needs to be a kind of meaningful oversight of Emiratization, and ultimately you need to be able to know how it's progressing. The difficulty there is that companies don't report to one particular body for the whole country. Instead, they report to kind of a welter of different organisations. Some are based in some Emirates, some are based in others. Some, they collect data in different ways. They maybe have different criteria. So in the end, it's rather difficult to know exactly what stage we're at.
And you've also heard from top Emirati educators who were saying that their top Emirati students are not getting a fair shake.
That's exactly right. It's a problem. Ultimately, there are a few. One of the things that hinders Emiratization are stereotypes about Emirati employees. I.e. that, in certain cases they may feel that some Emirati employees haven't performed as well as the employers might have wanted for them to. And what this means is that, this kind of stereotype, it's really it holds back Emiratis who are actually looking for jobs because they apply for a job, and the employer, whether Emirati or foreign, may look at the CV and go, well, you know what, it's an Emirati, maybe I'll look for somebody foreign who's maybe a bit cheaper and might perform in a slightly different manner. And it's a problem now because, the country has invested a lot in further education and in training. And really these programs are beginning to bear fruit. So, smart young Emiratis are graduating. They want to find a job, and they find it difficult to get past the initial CV looking at stage. Whereas employers are looking for Emirati employees, and they don't quite know where to find them. So really what needs to happen now is they need to be brought together in some meaningful way. And, hopefully things will get better.
Elsewhere in business, the U.S. president has warned American banks to show some restraint. Barack Obama met with more than a dozen bank CEOs to solicit their support for his plans to stabilize the financial markets. One of Obama's main messages to financial institutions was they need to tighten up procedures themselves or risk working under stricter rules. Goldman Sachs Chief Executive Officer Lloyd Blankfein was one of those at the meeting with Barack Obama. Not long after it ended, details of his paycheck for last year came through. Blankfein's basic salary of $1.1 million got a healthy bump from an additional $11.3 million in profits and income from hedge fund investments. And that wasn't a bonus. The Goldman boss gave up his bonus in light of the financial crisis. He took home nearly $68 million in 2007. And another potentially ugly week for economic data lies ahead in the States. Unemployment's predicted to reach 8.5%, the highest level since 1983, and manufacturing's expected to shrink further. Another month of numbers this bad, and this will officially be the longest recession since the Great Depression.